everyone. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
All right, should we try it again? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to see you, sir.
How you doing?
I don't remember names, but I never forget a face.
Oh, I'm John.
That's right, John. Very nice to see you again.
That's right.
And my old buddy back over there. It's wonderful to be here. I love being at 40 Plus. I've come here, Tom, how many times now?
Oh, I don't know, 5 or more. I remember when you came to observe or came.
I know I do at least 3 a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
How many
more.
years? So, yeah.
But for the
It's
last
adding
two,
up.
it's adding up. I'm getting up there. I'm getting old and gray. I love 40 Plus. I love the leadership. I love what this organization provides to its members. I think it's an incredible resource that they have provided you with. Like all of you in the room, I'm guessing, I too was in career transition at one point in my life. And had it not been for the resources and the people who were around me, I am not sure that I would be where I am today. So you guys are leading that way, and I think you know that to be here. I'm Faizun Kamal, and I'm a franchise consultant, franchise coach. And I've had my business now for about 3 years, going on to 3.5, 4 years. I did quite a few things in my life. One of my best friends, she likes to say, I have always colored outside the lines. And so every job, every situation that I have been in, I've tried to expand what I have done. Interestingly, I didn't realize it at the time, but that happens to be an entrepreneurial trait. To always be trying to expand out of the whatever box that you've been placed into. Before we begin, I like to do this because it's a small enough group that we should be able to. If you wouldn't mind, tell me your name. And why are you here this morning? By the way, I'm here to learn about franchises does not count as an answer. Something else. So I'll give you a couple seconds. Your name, and why are you here? The reason I ask that question, the more specific you are, I will try to get to that. If it's a very specific thing, I'll try to get to that in my presentation today. When you walk out of here, I want you to have spent some valuable time and that you're glad that you came here on a Monday morning when somebody did these outside. I appreciate that. All right, with that, I'll leave you out. Let's go with John.
Okay. Hi, my name is John Wilhelm. I'm an accountant by trade, and I'm here because I know when you're in a job search and we're moving more and more to the gig economy, I know this is a very important avenue for employment and also, more importantly, happiness. So I have a question for you. And you said you've been in this position for 3 years, that you were in transition. Can you tell us your aha moment, how you got to the point where you decided that being in this role, helping people find franchises, was right for you?
Fantastic. I love it. He gets an imaginary gold star for that. Love that. All right, man.
I'm Elizabeth, and I came here today to get out of that I'm all alone in this rut.
Oh, yes. That's fabulous. Fabulous.
It's the second time that I've done a career change, so I want to see
I love it.
How long was since your last one?
let's see, 15 years.
15 years. So
So I was an
all the
engineer.
rules have changed.
Yeah.
All the rules have changed.
Well, not only that, but I went from engineering to teaching, and teaching is a whole different universe of job. It's totally different.
Elizabeth, were you laid up or did you leave your last position?
Teaching has become all about the test and not about the kids. So this is the second attempt of leaving teaching. I tried last year, but didn't work out, so had to pay the bills, went back.
Well, it's a damn good reason to leave. I'll give you that. Fantastic. Welcome. Let's see if we can try and get your head situated around what else may be out there for you. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm exploring all possibilities. That's my thought. And so my daughter's also in the job search, and she's been approached by a number of people of very part-time type things where she has to, it's on commission, and or she has to generate the income. So that got my thinking too. Because one of the things you find when you go to job fairs is those are the types of jobs you want to find. where someone has a product or service that they want you to sign on to and start selling. But it's all up to you to make it profitable.
That's right.
That's
Fantastic.
interesting.
Lovely. Lynn.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Sergio, and I volunteer here in 40 Plus.
Lovely.
I do finances. I understand, as somebody that did a career transition, how vulnerable the transition time is, particularly emotionally and financially. And I'm here to volunteer.
Love it. Welcome. Thank you for all you do. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Ed, and I'm here essentially to hear ideas and perspectives of other people, rather than just my own.
Love it. Thank you. Welcome. Last but not least, Mr. Ron.
I am Ron. I am here to support the speaker. Because I've actually been working with Faizun and I'm about to embark on a franchise of my own.
And
In
how
the
to
coming
never,
weeks.
ever work with me if you know what's right for you. We're going to talk about that. Fantastic. Wonderful. I think I'd like to begin with the question that John asked. That directly ties into this. Have you guys ever read the book called Your Why? Simon Sinek. Pick up a copy if you can. Yeah, I see a couple notes. Basically, Simon Sinek says, whatever it is you do in life, the thing that will give you the most oomph, the most passion, the most energy to jump out of bed in the mornings is if you're engaged in your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why is that important to you? Are you passionate about it? Are you, like this lady here, she tried to get the hell out of Dodge and then had to go back again a second time. What's your why? What gets you excited, right? This is my why. This is my little chicken. She's going to turn 6 on the 11th. She rules the roost already. And before I started my business, I was in the corporate world, like many of you, for almost a decade. In the tiny company, some of you may have heard about called Verizon. I was the vice president of public policy, and I directed the company's national programs. Led the policy tone. We did a bunch of policy stuff up on the hill. It was very political. There was a lot of hardcore lobbying. I was not a lobbyist and hold the license to be one. There was a lot more advocacy on my part. There was a lot of stuff that I did. And while I was good at it, I never loved it. I never loved it. I would lie to you if I said that. And as the years went on, and this is true for any company, the mandate expanded. What shrunk? The resources, the people, the salaries, the benefits, the good stuff, right? Those all shrank. And it impacted me personally, and it impacts everyone. I knew I was going to leave. I just didn't know when would be the right time. We had our daughter in 2013. At the time, I was managing a team of about 35 people. I was doing 80-hour weeks. I spent about 5 days in the hospital after I gave birth. I was back in the office on day 12. I had lots of complications, never really addressed them because you know how it is. What do you mean? What do you mean you need maternity? You need to come back. Come back to work. Right? This is the world that we all experience and live in. And there were many other things which I will gloss over. In 2015, my boss called me in and said, well, Faizun, you know, we've had wave after wave of layoffs. And unfortunately, with this particular round, your position got taken. And my boss and I, we had a fantastic relationship. And he knew I'd been unhappy for quite some time. He had barely finished saying that, and I got an idea from him. And I know that that is the first and the last time anybody got a hug for being someone against me. I'm confident. Here's why, folks. I wasn't devastated. I will never forget the feeling. The big boulder that had been sitting on my chest for 8 years, somebody had finally lifted it off. And I could breathe again. That was my feeling in that moment, and I've never forgotten it. And all of these things came together and I said, my God, I am so not living my best life right now. And I'm so glad that this has ended. Left the company, didn't realize it at the time, but I ended up taking what turned out to be a 12-month long sabbatical. And like most of us, I'm very type A, and I've always been focused on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And for the first time in my life, I said, no, I just need to be. I'm mentally, psychologically, emotionally frayed. I'm done. I need to recoup, I need to do a reset on my life before I figure out what it is going to come next. And in that 12-month sabbatical, I found the world of franchises. Now, the question John asked me, how did I know? Did I know that this is exactly what I would be doing? That I would do these workshops where I would walk into a room full of complete strangers. I'll get to know some of you, I'm pretty sure. Complete strangers, and try to engage you all in a conversation. I didn't know that. And I don't know that we ever really know the specifics, John, necessarily, but here's what I did know. There were 3 things. I talk about it in my book. There were 3 non-negotiables going back to Simon Sinek's why. So my why was, we just have the one child. My biggest regret up to this point in my life is that I missed almost entirely the first year of my life. So other than some pictures, some home videos my husband and I took, I truly don't remember the first year of my life. I remember vividly holding her, sitting on the couch, the bottle at her mouth, and with my right hand, I'm checking my phone. I remember that. So when I left the company, I said there were 3 things that needed to happen. I don't know what the heck I'm going to be doing. I have no idea. It'll come. First, I wanted to be able to do work that brought to bear all of my skills and strengths. I love doing this. Some people, they'll throw up over themselves at the thought of meeting total strangers. We all know them. That's never been my issue. I have other issues, but that's not one of them, right? I wanted to be able to use this skill, this strength that I believe it's a strength. How can I use this, number 1? Number 2, and we all have superpowers, by the way. Every single one of you, laugh if you want to, but you have them. What we call, in other words, skills and strengths. I did an inventory of what I was really kick-ass, badass at. And I said, I want to do work that helps me utilize those skills. Again, had no idea what it would look like, but that's what I wanted to do, number 1. Number 2, I wanted to be able to create a lifestyle that I had never had with whatever work it was that I decided on. And the lifestyle included being able to be with her whenever she needed me. And not when my work allowed me to be available to my child. And the third and the most final thing was, I think some of you will appreciate this, I no longer wanted to work with assholes. I was just done. I wanted to work with people that I liked and trusted and respected. Think of how many hours we spend at work each day. Have you ever had one of those days, you're pissed off at work for whatever reason, you get home, and you taint the energy in your home with your spouse and your kids because you're still carrying that bad energy from work? I know I've done it far too many times. That was important. Those 3 were my non-negotiables. So no, John, I didn't know. I didn't know franchise consulting was going to be my world. But now, in the work that I do, those 3 things I have and I use every single day. When I got laid off, Elizabeth, it was one time too many. Even though, guys, I wasn't upset, I wasn't devastated for all the reasons that people are. Oh my God, I lost my job, how am I going to make money? Because I had been thinking about it and preparing for it for a while. But nonetheless, waking up in the morning on a Monday morning and you're like, oh God, I have nowhere to be, it's a very jarring feeling for most of us. We have bills to pay, we have kids, we have this, we have mortgages, all of this stuff. Just because your income stopped doesn't mean your bills stop coming in, right? And I said, never. Because God is my witness, I will never get laid off ever again in my life. That was a driving impetus for me. Colored outside the lines. Had no idea how all of that stuff was going to come together. Like in a weird kind of way, that's what happens in life. And I'm not that special. It happens to everyone. You don't really know what you're doing when you're doing it, but at some point down the road, you realize, oh my God, that thing that I did 2 years ago, here's why. So I did a bunch of stuff, and in all of the work that I did, this was important to me. That was the other thing, John. So my approach may not work for you guys, but for me, it was very important to be able to align my internal values with the work that I was doing externally. Because I knew once I did that, once the two synced up, I would be completely unstoppable. And I think that is true for probably everyone. Okay. The franchise consulting company. We do two things. This is the first thing I do, what we refer to as consulting, where I work with clients like you who are looking for what I call your perfect fit franchise. Your perfect fit franchise is that one franchise out of the thousands that are in this country, the one that fits who you are and meets your goals. Those two things need to happen. And the perfect fit franchise is different for every single one of you in the room. Today we'll hear from Mr. Moore a little bit about the franchise he and his wife chose and why they decided to go with that. Because he didn't just look at one, he looked at a couple. But why was that the one that made sense for them? Why was that his perfect fit franchise, right? The second thing we do is what we refer to as development, franchise development. So I work with a lot of business owners who are at that point in their business where they say, I don't have the time and I don't have the money to grow my business. I'd like to turn my business into a franchise. And I work with them on that, right? So those are the two key things. A lot of people ask me this. How much do you cost? How much do I pay you? And the answer is you, my client, never pay me a penny. I'm paid by the franchise that you eventually end up selecting. Think of how many of you here are homeowners? Did you guys work with a broker or realtor? Most of you did, one of you know. Did you pay your realtor? The seller does. In this case, the seller is the franchise. You're the buyer. So I joke, but I'm half serious. I joke with my clients, use me but don't abuse me. My time is the only thing I have, right? But those are the two key things we do at the franchise consulting company. All right, this is our agenda for the day. And this agenda came about because of people who sat in these chairs before you. It's based on their feedback, their questions, what rose to the surface is the most important things they wanted to know. Right? We'll talk about why do you want to even think about making the move from being an employee to becoming a business owner. Why? Isn't it risky? Couldn't you lose all your money? Isn't it a big headache? Don't you just want to live it at the office at 5 p.m.? Why do you want to start a business? Talk about that. We'll talk about these two notions of job security, and the perceived risks of business ownership, right? We'll compare and contrast the two. We'll talk about a franchise and what are the good things, what are the bad things? Because like anything else in life, it's not a silver bullet. There are pros and cons. The next bullet. So the first question is, how much do we pay for your services? The second question is, what would be the right franchise for me? And the third question people have is, how much does it cost? Doesn't it cost $1 million to open a McDonald's? Yeah. Are you going to open a McDonald's? You could. I wouldn't advise. Because there are many other franchises way better than that. Right? How much does it cost? How many of you have heard the term semi-absentee and recession resistant? Anyone? Okay. We'll get into that. And why that becomes a key thing for you guys to consider. option for you? Maybe not. For a lot of people, it's not. But for a lot of people, it absolutely is. We'll talk about that. And then I'll end with the 6-step process that I've used with dozens and dozens of clients to help them find that one franchise. How's that look for you guys? Good? Anything else? Any other burning questions you'd like me to address as we move through? No? Right, people? I want you all to have a conversation with me. Tom knows I hate talking at people. All right, engage with me, please. You give me indications of what you want to talk about, what interests you, what's helpful for you. All right. So the first thing, why make the move? All of these things happened in the 2008 recession. And my stance is, 11 years later, I believe every single one of these things have actually intensified. What do you guys think?
I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, because there's definitely that shift from to the gig economy where you do part-time work, you're paid for production because it's a lower risk for the company
That's right.
to pay for production.
That's right.
I was laid off in 2017. So, not 2008, but it was this year that our company
So
finished.
it's the dominoes, right?
Yeah. And they're done, they're now half the size they were when I was there.
Yeah, I hear that story all the time, right? All of these things. If you, unfortunately, are in that, it's not even 50 plus, quite frankly, I need to change that. It's 45 plus. If you're in that age range, my friends, you're a little bit screwed. Right? Where is here? I don't know if you can see it. This scenario. It's funny, but it's not. Right? We're looking for someone aged 22 to 26, so we don't have to give you anything in terms of how much we pay you, but we want somebody who has 30 plus years of experience. What? But this is the norm. We love your experience, we just don't want to pay for it. So all of these things, I will tell you, I think, they have exacerbated. Age and unemployment discrimination. I don't know if I have any HR friends in here. I will vehemently disagree with you. Ageism is well and alive in the corporate workplace. Right? So in the midst of all this happening in our workplace, what's the alternative? Is there an alternative? How many of you growing up heard from your parents, your loved ones, go to school, be a good student, get good grades, go to college, then get a good job. Don't play around, okay, Elizabeth? Get a good job. That'll give you the security you need. How many of you heard that? I did. I absolutely did. I call this, is it really job security or is it job insecurity? Because when you are in the workplace and you're an employee, these things are now at play. People 45 and over, they wait twice as long to get a job than people who are in younger age groups. Do you believe that? I saw that firsthand. Do you guys know what peak income is? Any idea? Yeah?
Your top earning year?
What's that?
Your top earning year?
Yes, yes. So your peak income is, think of this clicker as the entire length of your career. Yeah? It goes like this. When you are at the peak of your career, whatever age that is, this is the most money you will ever make in your life. From that point forward, it starts to go down. What we have seen is that the peak income ages for both men and women have gone down. What does that mean? You are spending a much longer part of your career making less money because your peak just went down. So for men, it used to be 52, it's now 48. For women, it used to be 43, it's now 39. The age has declined, right? All of these go hand in hand, by the way. They don't work in isolation. They're all happening together. Somebody here mentioned outsourcing. We love outsourcing. We, the companies, love outsourcing. because we can save a boat of money when we do that by getting rid of you guys. So, really, this is job security? The dream that we have all been working towards? I don't know about you guys, but for me that wasn't. Contrast that with business ownership. How many of you growing up heard, Faizun, are you crazy? What do you mean you want to start a business? You were living the American dream working at a Fortune 15 company. You want to start a business that's super risky. You have a child now, you have a mortgage. How many of you heard that? My mother, she loves me with all her heart. But she's my mother. The things I just said to you, that's what she said to me. What do you mean? You went to some of the best schools in the world. Go and get another job. Right? Job security. The risks of business ownership. Yes, starting a business is risky. It's scary. You've never done it before in some instances. Some of you might have. Right? But can anybody ever lay you off from your own business? Fred, I have fired you from your own business. At immediate effectively. You can get laid off from your own company. This is your baby. No one can take it away from you. Here's another funny thing that happens with a business. The longer you own the business, the less riskier it becomes. Tom is vigorously nodding. Why do you guys think that is? Why does it get less risky? What happens?
You get more experience.
Yes. Yes, Tom.
And you build up your reputation, which is very important.
I remember the first time, speaking of reputation, I remember the first time I met Tom. I came in because I said, this is a fantastic organization. I'm starting my business and I want to be able to present franchise workshops. He did not know me from a hole in the ground. Why? I had no reputation. He didn't know who I was. That takes time. As you learn your business, that takes time. But you get to a point where the longer you own it, the safer it becomes. You become the expert in whatever that thing is. Right? So, insecurity of job security versus the risk of owning a business. So, franchises. All of you guys showed up here on a hot Monday morning. You could have spent your time with anyone else, anywhere else, but you decided to be here. Maybe I'm just humoring myself, but I'd like to think that you guys are a little bit interested in franchises. Okay? What are the pros and cons of a franchise? Has anybody ever heard of a franchise being referred to as a business in a box? Anyone? No. Any ideas? Why would it be called a business in a box? And Ron, you can't answer.
You have to follow the model, right?
You have to follow the model. What model? There's a model?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. All McDonald's look alike.
Oh, all McDonald's do look alike.
All
They
Burger
serve the
Kings look
same
alike.
food? The same crappy quality food everywhere? I don't know.
Some are better than others.
Some are better. Right? Systems. Business in a box. So here's the box. When Ron and his wife signed their franchise agreement in about a month, the franchisor hands them over the box and says, here you go. Everything that you need to succeed is in this box. Your ops manual, your playbook is in this box. Follow it, and you will be successful. How do we know that as a franchisor? Because there are other franchisees around the country running the exact same business that you're getting ready to run using the same exact playbook. That's how we know. It's a business in a box. This is why hundreds of thousands of people choose to go with a franchise versus starting a business from scratch. Small business owners typically, why do they look so stressed out and harried all the time?
They're inventing the process.
You're the CEO and the janitor and everyone else in between. You're starting everything from scratch. With a franchise, you don't. The systems and the processes must be in place. This is why you are giving your franchisor a royalty every month. Right? What are you getting in return? This is what you have to understand. Support systems. Many clients begin with me and they'll say, Faizun, I don't know if I want a business that provides a product or a business that provides a service. And I say neither, forget about that. That's not what you're looking for. You want a business that gives you robust support systems. How are they helping you generate clients? How are they helping you develop your business, do business development? How are they helping you generate leads, marketing, operations, billing, real estate? You get the drift, right? How are they helping you do those things? That's what you're giving them the royalty for. Quicker startup. Somebody tell me, how many years on average does it take for a business started from scratch to arrive at profitability? Not break even. You guys know what break even is? Okay. Not break even, profitability. How many years on average? Guesses?
3, 5.
Ooh, you're living in a dream world, sir.
I am.
Nine. 6.
6,
No.
9, 7, 7, 7, 7 if you're uber aggressive, pedal to the metal, doing everything you possibly can.
But knowing what you need to do.
Knowing what you need to do. How many people when they first start up know exactly what they need to do? Quicker startup. This is why you're giving your franchisor a royalty for a quicker startup. I'll give you an example. Results not typical, as the same advertising, right? Had a client. He bought a fitness franchise. He's sitting at training, so Ron and his wife are getting ready to go to training. Every single one of my franchises, before they will let you lose as a franchisee, they'll give you training. You need to go through their training. So my client is sitting at their corporate headquarters. He's in training, they take a break, and he gets on his laptop, and he gets onto the new franchisee dashboard that they gave him, right? And he's like, oh no, there's a mistake. And he calls someone up from corporate. And he says, there must be a mistake. I haven't yet secured a location. I don't have a location. I have barely started marketing. For his particular franchise, I think he needed 800 pints a month to break even, okay? To recoup his investment amount. And he said, I've barely done all those things. There's far too many zeros in this. And the corporate person looked at him and smiled and said, no, this is why you came on board with us. He had almost 2,000 people who had signed up. He didn't have capacity, but they had signed up. They had paid whatever the fees were. Before he had even walked out of training, he had recouped his investment. I have never seen that happen in any other sphere. I've only seen it happen in franchising. This is an extreme scenario. I have had clients who recouped their investment and gone on to profitability between months 4 and 6. Do not underestimate the power of the system behind you. Follow the playbook, you will be successful. Okay? Anybody know what the FTC is?
Federal Trade Commission.
Federal Trade Commission. Why do you care if franchising is regulated by the Trade Commission? Why is that important?
To check against fraud. If it's,
Check against fraud. If you live in Maryland or Virginia, these two are what we refer to as registration states, meaning they are incredibly difficult for the franchisor to get through the registration process. There's a specific process that franchises have to go through in every state that they are legally allowed to sell franchises in. Okay? Maryland and Virginia happen to be two of the more extreme states, which is great for you guys if you live here because it means more protections in place for you. It's a very good thing that franchising is a highly regulated industry, very much like finances. So the good stuff. Is it perfect? No. It's a man-made system at the end of the day. It cannot be perfect. Here are some things that have had potential clients tell me. Faizun, I'm done having a boss. Even if it's a playbook, I don't want to have to listen to it. That's not a problem, Fred. That just means that a franchise is probably not right for you. It's that simple. If you will not follow the playbook, you should not look at a franchise. You're throwing your money down the toilet. Annual sales goals. Not all. Some franchises will require you to have an annual sales goal. And if you don't meet that goal, they'll work with you. Every brand has a different process. They'll work with you to get you to that number. Some people don't want that. I don't want to have a number. Other people say this. Do you guys know what a franchise fee is? Yes.
The franchisee pays it to the franchisor for the privilege of using the franchise and their logos and their playbook.
Do you keep paying them that money?
I think it's every month as long as you're a franchise.
Wrong.
No? Okay.
That's why I asked you. I love it. I love
Yeah.
your answer. So, franchise fee, one time. For the privilege of getting the brand, using the logos, getting the systems. Royalty, every month, baby.
Oh.
Franchise one time, franchise fee one time, royalty every single month for the life of the contract. Yeah? Some people will say, no. If I make $100, I want to keep $100. I don't have to give $10 back in royalty amount. Okay, Fred, I'm picking on Fred today. He just happens to be, okay, Fred, then a franchise is probably not right for you. I promise. I'll switch over to something else. Okay, right? Do you guys know what protected territories is?
You have an exclusive right in that area to operate that business. No one else can have a similar franchise in that geographic region.
Is that a good thing though?
Well, it gives you, essentially a monopoly in the area.
Essentially a monopoly. What'd you say, Elizabeth?
It depends on what side you're on.
It depends on what side you're on. In some instances, by the way, and I would say probably 80-20, 80% of my brands have protected territories, 20% do not. That doesn't mean the 20% are horrible franchises and you won't make a penny. It goes back to what? Their processes and systems. In those instances, you probably don't want to protect a territory. You want, for example, I don't just work in the DMV. Fred asked me this question this morning. I said, no, I work with clients all over the country. In fact, internationally as well. There are brands that are looking to expand outside of the US. I have a couple of clients who are in India as well, and other places. So I don't have protected territories. So some people think it can be limited. I happen to think it depends on what brand you're going into it. That defines it. Binding contract. This is, at the end of the day, a legal contract that you're signing. Make no mistake. You have to understand your roles and responsibilities. You have to understand the franchisor's roles and responsibilities. Some people say, I just don't want a binding contract. Then probably this is not the way for you to go. Franchisor's problems are your problems. What do you guys think that means? Why would their problems be your problems?
Well,
Reputation.
Aha. So about 4 or 5 maybe years ago, summertime, do you guys remember, it was a big to-do. It was freaking ridiculous, but it was a big to-do. And you all found out that the foot-long sub at Subway was not a foot long.
What?
Do you guys remember that? I know, blasphemy. The negative press that they got was absolutely astounding. Now, if you were one of their franchisees, those less than long subs you were getting from corporate. You didn't make them, but you had to share in part of the SHIT show that was happening at the time. Your franchisor's problems can become your problems. Reputation is a double-edged sword. Sometimes a lot of clients will say, I only want a brand that is well known. What did you give me, Faizun? I've never heard of these franchises. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
A question about the binding contract.
Yes.
Are there out clauses where you can either buy yourself
Yep.
back or
100%. Great question. There are clauses in the contract where, so that how many years is the average franchise agreement, guys? Do you guys know? Guesses?
5,
Nope.
15?
Nope. to 10. Yep, average. I have seen 7 in very rare instances. It's 10. Now, at the end, you could be with the brand for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, you can choose to exit the system, where you sell your business and you exit the system, or you could say, my God, I love you guys. I want to stay on for another 10. You will pay some fee. It will be in the contract. You will pay some fee to extend the life of your contract for another 10 years. Now, in the 10 years, if you wanted to leave for whatever reason, yeah, you can. You have to sell. You have to find the seller. Your corporate headquarters will help you with that, but you will have to find the seller to sell the business to.
Now, in your business, do you help someone who has said, oh, I decided I don't want this? Will you help them find a buyer?
Nope. I don't get into what we call resales.
All right, no.
I find resales to be incredibly sticky. Tom knows this. I don't like resales. I will have clients sometimes who will say, can you help me buy a resale? I'd like to buy an existing business. I will refer them to some other colleague of mine. I will not work with them. Why? Why do you think that is the case? Fully 95% of all businesses for sale have an issue that you, the seller, will never know until you have bought the business. That's why. In good faith, I sell you something, and it goes south. I don't want you coming back to me. I'm friends with every single client I've ever put into a business. That's what I stand by. They're on my speed dial. They text me, not necessarily at all hours of the day and night. But these are people that have become my friends. They entrusted me with their futures with a lot of money. So no, I will not touch resales. Yes?
And how long are you typically involved with someone that you place? You
Oh
said
my gosh.
forever, or is it typically like 1 year until you get established, or how long?
It
are
depends
you?
on what they need, John. So let's say you decided to go with a restaurant.
Mhm.
Once you've signed the contract,
By the way, I would eat all the profits, but okay.
probably not a good thing then. We'll talk about something else for you. But what I would do, you'd come to me and you'd say, hey, Faizun, do you know a commercial real estate broker? Because I need a location. Can you get me somebody who does commercial insurance? So I'm going with this? Those are the people that I work with. So these are the resources that I can offer to my clients after they have formally concluded the process with me. Because you've concluded the process with me, but my friends, you are just starting, right? The fun's just beginning. So whatever I can do to be able to be a part of that process in a helpful way, I'll do. And if I can't, I'll refer you to someone, or I'll say, I don't know, I can't help you.
Is your business itself a franchise?
Yes. Yes. Why does franchising work? It's a proven, systematic approach to starting and staying in business. How difficult is it to start a business, guys?
It's easy to start.
Haha! Yes! Yes. Right? Go to Virginia, what is it? Virginia State Corporation Commission, some awful name. Pay $125, incorporate, boom, you're done, you're a business. How hard was that? Took all of 15 minutes. What is critical, however, is staying in business. Staying in business for the long haul. Think of brands that you guys know that have been around for years and years and years. In all likelihood, they are franchises. So it's a very systematic approach for staying in business. There's no glory in starting it and then fizzing out. Right? These are just some of the things that you are going to investigate if you work with me, with the brands that I give you. Their experience, their operational support. What do their management teams look like? Right? What systems do they have in place? How are they helping you? Or are they just taking money from you every month? Let's figure that out. Do you guys know this? Franchises make more money than competing non-franchise businesses in every single category, in every single industry across the board. That's a few numbers. It's pretty astonishing. Systems.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Is that in terms of sales, top line, or profits even after deducting the thanks to the royalties?
Starts at top line. Starts at top line. Net numbers become trickier because every business is operated differently, even if it's a franchise, depending on how aggressive the franchisee is controlling their bottom line costs. You're typically talking top line sales. How many of you, before you came in this morning, said, this is going to be a really boring talk? Because really, franchising is all about burgers and fries. What else is there? How many of you thought that? Be honest. Be honest. Mr. Moore. You're disappointed. All right.
Well, I know that's not true, but I know I also don't know all the smaller franchises that work with
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah. These are the 5 major categories of franchising that we have. Okay. Food, obviously. And it's not just fast food. There's so many, many subcategories within food now. Automotive is a huge one. Give me an example. You know them. Give me an example.
A car like Ford.
Nope.
no.
Nope. Pep Boys.
Something's,
Where do you go get your oil change?
Sorry?
Where do you go get your oil change?
Jiffy Lube.
Jiffy Lube. Mako. Meineke. Advanced Auto Parts. I can go on. Huge, 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 huge industry. Okay? Retail. Businesses that require you to locate in a retail space, and there could be anything. There could be clothing, children's toys, gaming systems. I mean, the list goes on and on. Retail businesses. You have a location, customers come to buy stuff from you. What's an example of a business service?
Kinko's?
Kinko's. UPS store. Business services. Ron, what's your franchise? What are you guys going to do?
Okay, I'm signing up with a franchise by the name of Schooley Mitchell. Schooley Mitchell works with businesses to identify areas of expenses that they can reduce. And they've built up expertise in telecommunications, electronic payment processing, small package delivery, and now they've added waste management to that.
Have you ever heard of that? Did you even think that a business like that existed? That's an example of a business category we call expense reduction. That's a business service. If you are a small business, think of the kinds of services that you might potentially need. There's a whole vast world of franchises that offer that. Yeah?
But knowing Ron, I can see where that would be an attractive franchise for you.
And he will tell us later why that was his perfect franchise. So was that the only thing I gave you to check out, Ron?
No, she gave me 3 to look at initially. Do you want me to go
Please.
through? There were 3 unrelated areas. One was an IT franchise, which was actually my background. I worked in IT for years. One was works with clients who need to place parent or grandparent or other family member into assisted living or some sort of living arrangement like that, and works with them to match them up with the right facility at the right price. And then the Schooley Mitchell opportunity is the one that we decided to go with.
That's right. But we didn't get there just because, I'm so fabulous, I looked at Ron and I figured out those were the ones that you'd be good for. There's a process. There's a very systematic process that every individual goes through.
She almost gave up on me because I took too long on the questionnaire.
Lies, all lies, all lies. Last category, home personal services. Give me an example. Make cleaning. You mean the cleaning? Yeah. Dog walking. Yes, it is.
Would that be home health care also, or is that?
Yep, 100%. Okay. These are the 5 major categories, and they comprise more than 3,500 franchises that currently exist just in the United States. So now you start to see why, if you were looking at this and figuring out what would be the right business for you, it could get a little bit overwhelming. And given that it's not a drop in the bucket, for some, not all, you want to be wise about the investment that you're making. Yes, sir.
So, would like a financial services fall under personal services, personal finance?
Probably business, and it'll straddle both business and personal, depending on if your clients are individuals or if they're small, mid-sized companies. Right? Who are you serving? B2B, B2C? That's wrong.
I don't think anyone mentioned it. And a lot of the tax preparation
Yes.
companies are all franchises.
Yes. When you start, if you have any interest in franchises, think about when you leave this place and drive back home or wherever you're going, look around you and ask yourself, what demographic, what population does this business serve? Yes, sir.
I also wanted to add, when I heard her presentation back in February, I think it was, I went home and I Googled business services franchises. And I was.
That's right, you did.
Because I thought that would, if I did any franchise at all, I figured it would be somewhere in that category. And I was amazed at the list and the variety of different franchises out there.
He realized he couldn't run away from me after. All right, fantastic. None of you asked me this question yet. How much does it actually cost? Isn't it costing you $1 million, Ron?
Not quite.
No, okay, not quite.
Drop a few zeros.
Drop a few zeros. Yes, most people think this is the category you have to be in. Wrong. This right here in the middle, the 100 to 250 is what we call the sweet spot in franchising. This is that investment range that allows you to look at the most diverse set of franchises across multiple categories. The second category that says home-based, actually change that label. It's home-based slash what I call home services. If you are a homeowner, think of the kinds of services you will need. Plumbing, electrical, HVAC, remediation, pest control, on and on, right? There are franchises in every single one of these categories. They have an incredibly low investment amount relative to the amazing returns that they have. Why do you think that is?
No location.
Low location, that's a very good one. What's that? Low overhead. What's the biggest reason though? What kind of services are they providing? Is it like a nice to have? Like, hey, my back is hurting, I want to go get a massage. That's nice to have. When your money is tight and you're a homeowner, and we had a thunderstorm last night, and you wake up in the morning and there's water coming down, what are you going to do? Sit and think? If you're going to call someone in? I love businesses that are need to have services. They're very yucky, sometimes smelly, not sexy, but guess what is sexy? The return.
Is that the home-based or the office-based that you talked about now?
They can straddle both, because again, every business has a very specific investment level, but you will get a lot of businesses in the home services category that are in the 50 to 100K. Right? So no, it does not cost you $1 million to start a business. It can. There are many that do. I can show them to you. But that is not where you need to be. There is no automatic correlation between the cost of the franchise and its potential return. By the way, if you guys want the slides, indicate that on the evaluation form. I'll be happy to give them to you. No need to take copious notes. I used to hate that when I was doing presentations, and I feel like madly scribbling. Damn it, just give me the damn slide. So I'll give it to you if you need it. Okay, recession resistant. Whether the economy is going up or the economy is coming down, your business continues to make money. Who wants a business like that? Yeah? Remember I just talked to you about demographics, right? What demographics does the business serve? Look at the demographics that these serve. Can you understand why they're recession resistant? Huge markets driven by changing demographics. One of the businesses I showed Ron was senior care, in-home, non-medical senior care. Do you think that's a demographic that's likely to go away anytime soon, no pun intended? No. Are we aging every day? Yes. Think of the demographic that the business serves. That is the kind of industry you want to be in. You will always have business. Okay? B2C. This is one of my most favorites. Building essentials. We are in an office space. Who do you think comes in and replaces the light bulbs when it blows? You have no idea. In all likelihood, it's a franchise. How many of these buildings do you have just in DC? Right? What demographic does the business serve? This is a fantastic way to lower your risk. Look at businesses that provide a need to have, to a demographic that will always be around. Who's heard semi-absentee? Anyone? I have clients who come to me and say, you know, I have a good job, I'm making good money, I want to stay in it for at least a couple more years, but I also want to start a franchise on the side and have something for my retirement years, have it be up and running by the time I get to that stage. Yes, sir?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I've heard turnkey. Is that similar? Is that related?
No.
Turnkey?
No. Turnkey is more like the business in a box,
Okay.
where you get the manual. It's turnkey. You can start as soon as you begin. Semi-absentee is where you start a franchise and you hire a manager to effectively replace you. They run the day-to-day operations of the business, not you. You can continue in your job, but you hire the manager to run a business that continues building up equity and income. So by the time you're ready to leave your job, you can then settle back into it. Semi-absentee. This is a good way to run a business while keeping your day job. And these are all categories of businesses that allow you to do that. You will find almost every business on this list, however, requires what? What does it require? Can you do it out of your home?
Employees, location.
Location. You have to hire a manager. It requires a location. Semi-absentee businesses, by definition, are going to cost you more. Because why? You have to pay the salary for a manager, and you have a location. Okay? So I want you to keep these little distinctions in your head if you can. The big question, is this right for me? I don't know. We can find out. But these three things need to happen. If this is where your head is at, a franchise may be the right option for you. Back to the very first slide. Remember how I said I was good at what I did, but I never loved it? My dears, I was certainly not in my zone of genius. I am now, and I love every single day. It's night and day. Let's find you a business where you're going to be in your zone of genius every day. It makes all the difference in the world. Your franchise allows you to achieve your lifestyle and financial goals. Not just your financial goals. I don't want to be in a commute for 1 hour, 20 minutes each way every day, Faizun. Can you help me find a business that allows me to eliminate that? Yes. That's an example of a lifestyle goal. I would like to find a business that brings in a high six-figure income by year 2. That's a little harder for me to say, yes, I can. I can find you businesses that have that potential. The elbow grease needs to come from you. Yeah? Lifestyle financial goals. And last, build a business that's a saleable asset. John asked the question, is there an exit clause? Maybe your exit strategy is, I'm going to build a business up for the next 10 years so that when I sell it for a multiple of how much I bought it for. That's a strategy. Okay? Potentially, a franchise may be right for you. These are the 6 steps that I use with clients, that I use with Ron when we went through the process. Right? The first step happens with you and I getting on a call and having a more detailed conversation about you and where you want to go. We then schedule a second call, much longer, typically an hour, hour and a half. And this is where I prepare what I call your personalized business model. Your business model includes all the details that you give me of what you want from your business. Lifestyle, personal, financial, professional goals. Whatever you want from your business, you're going to put that in there. I then introduce you to the brands. As you move through the process, the brands will then introduce you to their franchisees. As your franchise coach, I know a little bit about a lot of brands. But who really knows what it's like to run that business on a day-to-day? Not me. The franchisees. You're going to talk to them. Step 5. I'm not sitting on $1 million. Can I buy a business? Yes, you can. You will work with my funding concierge. She has worked with almost every brand that I have. She has put hundreds of people into businesses for her funding. She works with the 3 top franchise funding organizations in the country that I work with. So when you work with me, I become your one-stop shop, for lack of a better way of saying it. Step 6, you attend what's known as a discovery day, where the franchise that you've selected, if they like you enough as well, they will say, John, we would like to invite you to come to our corporate headquarters to meet with us, and we'd like to meet with you. This is the last step in your interview process. You come back, and then you make a decision. No, this is not the one for me. Or, yes, this is the one for me. And by the way, steps 1 through 6, at any point in time, you might discover that the franchise is indeed not right for you. That's okay too. Typically, clients will move through this process between 45 to 60 days, on average. Some a little more, some a little less, right? These are sort of the steps in a little more detail. I won't go through all of them, but this is really what we're trying to understand, what I'm trying to understand in a consult. These are just some of the things that I will ask you as we create your business model, your goals. What are your transferable business skills? Remember I talked about your superpowers? I know some of you thought I was crazy. It's okay, I am a little bit. What are your superpowers? You have them. There's some things you do so well, no one can touch you. What are those things? Let's find them out. Let's find a business that then allows you to parlay those skills into that business. Do you think you might be successful in that scenario? Hell yeah. We talk about your preferences in a business. How many employees? Do you want a location? Do you want home base? How much money do you want to spend? How many hours do you want to work? All of this becomes your business model. Introduce you to the brands after that. I pick out 3 brands whose business models most closely approximates what? Your business model. Yeah? Anybody know what the FDD is? We didn't touch on that. Very quickly, it's a franchise disclosure document. It is a legal document that every brand must give to you within 7 days of first speaking to them. If they don't, I will kick their ass and you need to tell them so. Why? They're legally required by the federal government to release the FDD to you if you are potentially considering them. Think of it as a prospectus. Have you guys ever bought stocks and bonds? Mm-hmm. You get a prospectus. It's a prospectus. Who's the management team? How many years experience do they have? How many franchisees do they have? One of the most beautiful things about this process is at the end of each FDD is a comprehensive list, names, emails, phone numbers of any and every person who has ever bought into that franchise. And you can contact any of them. Do you see how this transparency works? No one can hide the ball from you, right? So we review the FDD. One of the other things that I do with all clients, I will introduce you to one of several franchise attorneys that I work with. And I will say, have a conversation with them and have them review your FDD before you sign anything. Okay? You speak to the franchisees. Either you call them, if they're local, you can visit them. And you're trying to understand, can I do what they're doing on a day-to-day basis? Number 1. Number 2, can I do what they're doing on a day-to-day basis and make money? This part of the process is called validation. You validate with franchisees what I'm telling you and what the rep at the franchise brand is telling you. These are just some of the ways in which my clients have funded their franchise. There are many different ways out there. Some people think I have to own a home in order to buy a franchise. Not true. Some people think I need to have $100,000 in cash, otherwise I can't buy a franchise. Not true. It really depends on your specific situation. We talked about Discovery Day. They invite you to the corporate headquarters. You meet the team, who in effect is going to be your work family, your business family for the next 10 years. Why would you sign an agreement without meeting with the team first? I wouldn't if I were you. It's an optional process for a lot of brands, but I tell my clients, even if it's optional, go out and visit them. No one has ever regretted it yet. And then you make a decision. No, this is not the one for me, Faizun. Close it out. Yes, I believe for these reasons, this is my perfect fit franchise. Okay, folks, before we end out, Ron, I want to talk a little bit about when you first came to me.
Actually, can you go back to slide?
Yep. Which one?
Advantages and disadvantages. Yeah, I can talk to that some. Let me make sure the camera's pointing at something.
If you would, I think it would be super helpful for the folks here to get a sense of the process you went through, and from your perspective, what did you feel was helpful that you may not have been able to do if you had done this on your own?
Well, first thing, if I had done it, I don't know if I would have found the one, any of the ones you suggested to me.
You don't think if you had done a search?
I probably would have found Team Logic, but I did find, the initial Google search, I found another franchise called Expense Reduction Analyst or something like that, which was one of the ones that first said, hey, you can do things like this and as part of a franchise. But Faizun started me with a questionnaire, which it's like, it took a lot of thinking, so she kept saying, Roderick, are you still with me?
It took a little longer, just a little longer.
So I said, no, I really can fill this thing out. So I finally got that to her, and based on that and conversations we had, she went and looked through her basket of franchises and suggested the three that I mentioned earlier. And this, some parts of the process happened real quick. I barely had time to read the titles of their webpage. I had people calling me saying, I heard you're interested in our franchise. So it's like, that was a little faster than I would expected. So the process involved at that point looking over the material, the initial materials they sent, looking over their webpage. Most of them had a separate page just for people considering buying into the franchise. So I was looking at that, all the information they had. They sent the FTD, which Faizun mentioned. So then that takes a bit of effort to start reading through because it's a legal document, so it takes a bit of work. And then so understanding, so not just what the franchise does, but what's it going to take to operate within this franchise. And the FTD has a walk a fine line because they want to give you an idea of what it takes to do the franchise without giving you the manual about this is how you do it.
That's a great point.
So you had to.
Was the conversation with the attorney helpful?
Yes, very helpful.
Yeah.
Very expensive, but very helpful.
Imagine how much more you're paying for that to your business, though.
What?
So the couple thousand you pay in fees, that's a great investment for the business that you're investing in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, because it gave me confidence that he looked through the FTD and said, I don't find it. There's a couple things minor things that he thought weren't the best, but it's like he said, there's nothing here that he actually pointed out that because we're in Maryland has part of their franchise law that overrides the FTD, which said that the FTD required certain payments in advance. In Maryland said, no, the franchisor has to deliver all their deliverables before you need to pay them anything. So that's like, okay, I don't have to get that money quite as soon as it looked like. So that was a big benefit from having this attorney.
So remember I said Maryland and Virginia are two very rigorous states? That's an example.
And Schooling Mitchell does not have protected territories and protected clients. That once I register a client, it's part of what the software they provide does. It says this is my client, no one else can go after that client. Although it doesn't have protected territory, because Maryland has the extra restrictions, they just got qualified to offer franchises in Maryland. So I will have all of Maryland to myself for a while. So,
Yeah.
so it's not a protected territory, but also the benefit is like I could be visiting my sister up in Maine and, you know, and say, like I'm in the business doing this, and she could say, hey, can you help our business? You know, I could take this business,
Anyway.
conduct it anywhere in the country, or in North America, I guess.
And that's an example of you don't need a location, Rob, do you?
They want a location either at your
Immediately?
home or somewhere near your home.
So you do have the option of having it be home based.
Yes, yeah, that's,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm definitely working with home base.
Without territories, how does the marketing work? Can you benefit from marketing
Well,
the franchisor does?
There's certain marketing campaigns I can only do in the area around
Yeah.
where I'm located. So I can't all of a sudden start a marketing campaign in Ohio.
Yeah.
But certainly if I've developed relationships with businesses in different ways, I can work with them.
So every week when you speak with each of the brands I've given you, these are exactly the kinds of questions, Fred, that you're going to be asking them.
I had another question for maybe both of you, and it's very self-interested, but I love the idea of being my own boss, but not being other people's boss so much. I don't love that part of the times I've had management responsibilities. Does that mean franchising probably is not a good idea?
Not at all.
But most of the School Mitchell franchises never get employees.
Exactly.
It's not one person. Now, the ways they can do this is through the support system. That the home office of Schoolie Mitchell, you could do pretty much as much of this yourself or as little. You have to do the sales work, but the analysis work, you can do that yourself, or you can pay a little extra percentage and have Schoolie Mitchell. Because some guys said they were getting clients so fast, they didn't have time to even do the analysis, so they just pay Schoolie Mitchell to do this. They don't have to get an employee to do that. So
Franchises are great for people who want to do like a one-man, one-woman show without being completely overwhelmed with typically what startup business owners go through, because they don't have the systems and the processes behind them. So to Ron's point, sure, he can do everything by himself if he wants to. When he gets to the point where he has clients coming out of his ears and he needs help, he can go to the motherboard. He can go back to the franchisor and say, can you pick this and this up? I'll pay you a little extra, but this is where I need to help.
one of the things that among my job search, one of the things I contemplated was, should I go into business for myself? But what's stopping is, well, what I do it, how would I do it? So having this business in a box thing, someone's already figured that out for me. I don't have to worry about that part. I can think about other aspects of the business.
Fantastic.
That's what having a playbook. I find the playbook is, like you said, is very valuable.
And you're heading off to training soon.
Right. Yes, training will be like the second or third week in August.
How long is it for?
So they have a week of training initially at their location, or you can do it remotely if you want, but they really encourage people to come there. And then there's follow-up for your first year. Among the support they have, they assign a mentor or a coach, I guess, supposed to contact you every week for the first year. You're there, work through any difficulties you're having. And actually, one of the franchisees I talked to said his coach challenged him. He was good at going to different networking, finding clients, but going to different networking groups and building relationships there. But his coach actually challenged him that he really needs to learn to make cold calls. So he set up some goals and he started working through that. I forgot what the question was on.
Do you think the process took you longer than you had
Yeah,
thought?
I saw they said 45 to 60 days. I started thinking, well, we kind of started in March. So
You started in April.
April.
By the time you finally
So-
gave me that question,
Okay,
that's when you
sorry.
started.
Okay, I started the questionnaire last year. No. So it was probably more like 90 days.
I would say close to 90 days.
where it is.
Are you excited, Ron?
Yes.
Yeah?
They still have, oh, there's still periods where I wonder, am I doing the right thing? But it's like there's one of the things that's different about a regular job search is that when you're applying to be an employee, it seems like most places are looking for ways to eliminate you. And I felt like talking to these franchises, they were trying to find ways to, how can we include this person? Which was a very refreshing perspective. But they're also very encouraging that based on our conversations, we think you're well suited to do this work and things like that.
Do franchisers tell you their success rate that after, people who sign up after a year, this is how many are meeting their goals?
That's in their MTD. Yes, yes.
Yeah, one of the disadvantages of the FTD is that because it's the lengthy process they go through before the states will say, yeah, you can show this FTD. So, like the one I was looking at, that had the most up-to-date was 2017 figures. So I didn't know what are people doing lately.
The MTD has to be approved and reapproved by the government every single year before they can sell a franchise. So this is not one and done. You do it when you first begin and then that, no, it's every single year.
Yeah, that's what training. So they have the initial 1 week training. They also have follow-up training you expect you to do on your own at a certain pace. And they provide, one of the things that supports is that they have developed their own software that everyone is able to use for tracking clients, reporting sales, doing some of the accounting, and it also has repositories of different training materials they provide, including something I was looking at the whole list of how to set up BlackBerry, analyze BlackBerry services. Probably not much use anymore. So they have all this training. If you wonder one of them was how to set up accounting controls for your business. So I don't know anything about accounting controls. You watch this video.
And watch that sooner rather
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ron. I hope that was helpful. You got like the perspective of somebody who's actually gone through this process, right? Versus me talking about the process. Yes, please.
When franchises get employees, are they the employees of the franchisee?
No,
or the franchisee?
yeah, employees of the franchisee.
I see.
Not
And
the
things
mother.
like salaries and benefits and all that is decided.
They will, every brand differs. They will give you guidance. Probably you will get ranges. So with a semi-absentee business, if you are hiring a manager, one, you'll get an idea of what the numbers look like where you're located in your market to make it competitive. And then you might provide some support from headquarters. In many instances where you are required to hire employees, they will take a much more active role where they'll help you screen candidates. Because remember, when you don't make money, who else doesn't make money?
They do.
The franchisor. It is in their best interest to help you out. Right? All right, folks. I think that's all we have today. If you would fill out your evaluation form, as I was saying to you, the agenda that we went through today, that is fully based on comments people put into this evaluation of what they wanted, what they liked, what they didn't want. And actually, I'm happy to send you a copy of the manuscript of the book which came out a little less than a month ago to each of you if you'd like to take a look.
Oh, nice.
Happy to do that. 40 Plus is my friend, so whatever I can do for you guys, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. And, okay, please.
Time